heroes that can work really well into different compositions.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff that can work. I'm a huge fan of crowd control-based compositions. With all the stuns, silences, fears, whatever it may be, putting all of those together and completely overwhelming the enemy team. You just don't have enough blocks to be able to deal with those. I personally have a lot of fun running those.
You are the most annoying and intelligent player to face against. It's so annoying. Just let me get my spells off. Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, as we look at this draft, one other thing I want to point out is now the Kestrel getting banned away. We saw Kestrel in just about every game over in Europe. So there's going to be another difference is going to have to come through, something that we haven't seen yet. Will have to come on to the rise. Samuel, we expect Varya, Samuel, and Celeste to be the top 3 picks for that mid lane. So I wouldn't be surprised if TSM goes for that Varya within these next 2 picks, because you don't want to run into a situation, or they're going to go for the 4th pick that I've talked about every so often, is that Scarf. So now they don't need to go for that Varya.
Yeah, the Scarf, definitely a great pick for TSM. That's a huge comfort pick for Chuck in the mid lane. It's something he has been practicing and putting a lot of time into perfecting those mechanics, and hopefully he can put them together here today.
Now I got to ask, obviously being from Team Solo Mid previously, Chuck picking up the Scarf, is that any sort of response to what Zio has done to him in the past with the Scarf pick?
No, Chuck's a pretty intelligent player. I don't think he lets other people get under his skin too much. I think that that's really him exploring and really learning how to understand and exploit the strengths of different heroes. Scarf is so strong at pushing turrets in 5 versus 5. They melt. SCMC released the 3.2 balance changes, I believe, yesterday, and that's one of the things that they're actually turning down on Scarf in the next update. But I know Chuck is definitely going to capitalize on that here today.
And we talked about picks that we haven't seen thus far yet. Blackfeather going to be grabbed there by Team Solo Mid. I know that that's a pick that Daniel has been playing a ton of in the community tournaments. I know Daniel's also one of these players that's super, super motivated. I got to talk to him a little bit before the preseason started, and he said he wants to make recognition for himself. He wants, when people talk about Team Solo Mid, he wants them to talk about him. And it's so frequently that these top laners, the solo laners, kind of go unnoticed a lot in 5 versus 5 games. They kind of get put on an island and are left to do their own thing. He wants to change that. He wants teams to have to focus him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great character attribution that he has. But it's not just Daniel. It is every single one of those players on the team. I had a very large role in helping hand in putting together that roster, and that is something that every single one of those guys really want. TSM didn't have a great year in 2018, but they're looking for in 2017, they're looking for some redemption in 2018.
And something that's just surprised me in this draft, aside from the Sky pick, that's a little bit of, not as conventional, but the Varya ban, once Scarf was already picked, is that something that you've seen, like if expecting Scarf to go into one of the side lanes, or because I feel like Scarf, when you see Scarf, you expect mid lane, so the Varya doesn't seem like a necessary ban there.
Yeah, a little strange, a little surprising. Maybe they thought TSM had something up their sleeves that they just weren't prepared for. Chuck, not known for his Scarf play whatsoever, so maybe Rehab was just reading into that a little bit too much. They figured that they'd be putting it on someone else, but it's definitely going to be Scarf in the mid lane here today.
Well, now that we are done with that draft, I want to know your thoughts. I've already heard some of them, but now that there's a complete team.
I like the composition in terms of what they can do as a full team from Team Solo Mid, but Rehab, they kind of did that, the thing I talked about in Europe of drafting a lot of individually very strong heroes without necessarily having a really clear-cut win condition, aside from just winning the early lane. So I like the heroes on the side of Rehab, but if they can't get that early advantage, they're going to struggle. Yeah,
I definitely can agree with you there. TSM, definitely going to give them the upper hand. I think that they are on heroes that they are all very comfortable with, that they all know how to execute incredibly well. And I'm a little biased, but I think it's going to be pretty one-sided.
That sounds about right. But let me ask you one more. With a team that does seem to be heavily towards characters that can take care of themselves, what should their strategy be going in against a team that does have a stronger composition like this?
I think the focus for them is going to be, if they get a small advantage in the early game, push it as hard as you can. Start grouping up early. Start pushing down those turrets. We know Team Solo Mid's play style. If you've watched any of the community tournaments, they like to have Daniel split pushing all game long. If you can be prepared for that and have an answer to it, if you shut down Daniel on that Blackfeather, Team Solo Mid can start to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. TSM definitely very experienced as far as being pressured heavily goes. I know that that is something that a lot of the top tier teams have been doing. They've been focusing on putting a lot of pressure onto Daniel for that exact point that you mentioned. But with that, Daniel now has the experience to be able to adapt and reflect and basically get his job done all the time.
Now, what advice would you give to a new player that's trying to take on someone that is doing a double push? Very quickly, if you could.
It's definitely hard. You have to understand where to trade. If an enemy team is pushing for your bottom turret, then you push for their top turret, and you play across the map, especially if you're not on the same level playing field. That's one way to look at it.
Well, I hope that they do something like that. I think we're going to toss right over now to the very first 5v5 competitive match in the Vainglory Premier for North America.
All right, and here we go on to Sovereign's Rise for our first look at the North American 5v5 Vainglory Premier League. You can see right off the bat, very similar to what we saw over in Europe Dragonborn, with teams just putting up a little bit of a fight when going after those initial orb treants. And it does look like the teams are going to kind of back off. We're not really going to see too much in terms of fighting over those treants.
Yeah, there's two parts to trying to get that win on those early engagements. One is you obviously want to get the CS, you want to get the buff that you get from either the crystal or the weapon treant, but you also want to get some vision down early so you can see the enemy team plotting through, taking farm, their rotations. You get all that information early, and it looks like, again, another skirmish here right around mid.
And this is exactly what having that vision can do for you. You can see where the enemy team is trying to rotate through. If they're invading your jungle, if they're trying to steal away some extra camps, if you spot that out, you can meet them in that river and try and get up a kill there. If Team Solo Mid had gotten a kill, that would have been amazing for them, but instead they're just going to back off, kind of reset, take care of their own half of the map.
Absolutely, yeah. Trying to see which team wins that early vision game is something that we all should focus on. You can already see, like just with TSM, they're going to prioritize vision a little bit differently. Tilt Rehab, how they want to prioritize their lanes, that's where their vision priority is going to be. And it's all going to be important to kind of identifying their strategy. We see, again, a two-man push in mid, and down the bottom, all right, Daniel taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Maokai going to get turned around on, though. Has to use his own healing flask. And Black Feather Rona, this is a matchup that we've seen so many times on 3v3. But if it stays in this 1v1, it should actually start to swing the favor of Maokai. But in 5v5, it doesn't stay 1v1 for very long, as here comes Archaic making the moves and setting up that first blood for Maokai.
Oh, nice gank from Archaic coming from the mid, from that river right down into the lane. Able to get that. It's very important, too. You think about, like, Book of Eulogies got nerfed a little bit. Like, there's a lot of changes that makes, if you're going to go melee, it's not super easy. You've got to be a little cognitive of that. As Hammy, the Sky, now, I love the Sky in the top lane. Sky is so good at harassing, and I think Alpha's going to have a lot of trouble.
Well, Maokai actually going to get found out there and kind of caught himself. So 1 for 1 in terms of the kills. Archaic trying to get away. Will get the heal from Lyra. Ali Peterson coming in clutch, but it's just not going to be enough. And now can Ali Peterson get out of this, because Kaz and Shaded Talent are putting in the pressure, and Chuck throwing out the Spitfire. They will find another kill. Team Solo Mid, excellent rotation.
Yeah, great job punishing Tilt Rehab for that engage down in bot, and you know that's what you got to do. You've got to be able to respond quickly. You're going to see things kind of happen, and if you can predict it, that's great, but if you can't, you got to be at least be able to react to it and mitigate any kind of pressure you're going to get. There is Tilt Rehab trying to apply pressure, but they didn't execute correctly. TSM actually did a better job. 3v2 ends up getting the kill.
Yeah, great rotations from Team Solo Mid, and again, like we heard Flash saying on the desk, they've been playing together for quite some time. Like, this is a roster, they knew that they were going to be this 5v5 roster for probably longer than most other teams, with the exception of maybe Cloud9, with the exception of Tribe picking up Cloud9. That announcement came very early in the offseason, so they knew they were going to be together, but then this Child's Play roster, even though that wasn't announced as Team Solo Mid until very late, they had been playing together as Child's Play for a long period of time in the offseason.
No, they really have. I mean, both these teams, you know, really looking to try to get that practice in early. That's really critical, I think, in 5v5.
Maokai very likely to be caught out again here. And I like what they've done here. They realize they have Maokai caught. They know that. Daniel just goes back into the lane and continues farming while Kaz and Shaded Talent just finish off that kill and make sure that there's nowhere for Maokai to run. So knowing that getting multiple people involved in that kill isn't quite as important. If you can get a CS advantage, the CS numbers are worth so much more than a kill. If you can get a good CS lead, it is infinitely more valuable than just finding yourself one kill.
No, absolutely. Especially if you could get that by taking it away from the opposing team. If you could steal away some CS, it's usually worth, because you're denying gold while getting gold. A kill here or there. You got to be careful, though. I mean, obviously, you don't want to let that stack up. As we see a nice rotation, TSM Chuck coming down into the mid here. He loves playing these mages, and this is great for mid lane. So we, of course, no surprise to see him on a Celeste or a Scarf. Here in this game, it's the Scarf. Haven't seen as much Scarf in 5v5 across all the teams, but this is just a hero that it just seems like Chuck can always find a way to bring it into meta.
It's like Fletch said, it was a hero that he really started picking up recently. He started to learn how to play to this top level, but it's a hero that is so well made for 5v5. It's in fact was so strong that SMC he is going to get nerfed in the next update because of how effectively he can push down turrets. Esme going to get dropped into that infinite reboot. Hammy and Kaz going to team up to try and finish off that kill. Esme does get back up, but it is short-lived, as that is another kill going the way of Team Solo Mid. And this is starting to look a little bit dicey for Tilt Rehab. I mentioned they really need to kind of get these early advantages if they want to be able to win out in these late game team fights, and they haven't been able to do that thus far.
Yeah, it's been a little dicey off and on. Maokai here trying to get some pressure. Lyra, the team's
Full
going down.
rotation from Tilt Rehab looking for these kills. They really want to try and put some pressure onto Daniel, but Shaded Talent and Daniel, they don't really seem to be worried about this at all. Even 4-on-2, they just continue to farm up under the turret. They stay safe, don't lose out anything, and this is just allowing the rest of Team Solo Mid to continue farming. Now
that is scary. If you can't 4-man push and at least get some damage on the turret at this point of the game, that's a little bit of a bad sign. Looks like TSM good. They know how to defend, and that's going to be really important.
Oh, Kaz getting caught by Esme, though, is he's going to be trying to get out here using the Taki's very slippery, but will he be able to actually avoid the damage long enough? Not going to be the case, as that will be a kill. And first tier 3 items starting to come out now, Dragonborn. I think we need to start talking about what they're going to be doing, especially Chuck starting with a Frostburn.
Yeah, interesting item. One of those that, you're trading off a little bit of damage right here. You can see.
Dragon's Breath, trading off the damage, but it doesn't really matter when you're able to keep everyone locked down for and slowed up for so long. They find another kill, and that was onto the mid laner of Tilt Rehab, so that's going to be a very effective kill. And again, it's all about what can you get off of these kills. And by taking out the mid laner, you get to build up your CS lead even further.
Yeah, Maokai, though, look at this. Going down here, actually picking up a turret by himself. I think catching Daniel and Shea Talent on an off rotation, going through the jungle, able to come in there, pushing that turret. This is something that Rona is really good. It's for a melee hero, really good at pushing that lane against even a ranged hero.
Yeah, playing a little ring around the Rosie there, but Shaded Talent will have that stun available. Uses the ultimate to knock Maokai into the wall. They really want to punish for that turret take. They're going to get that kill. Now they have to get out from under the turret. Will they be able to answer with a turret of their own? I doubt it, because that turret is still very full health, but they at least let Maokai know that he is not going to be able to just make those plays without feeling some sort of punishment.
One of the advantages of that Frostburn on Chuck is, when you have a Lyra sitting up in the mid lane all the time, those sigils give that speed boost. But if you take that away by building a Frostburn, you absolutely help your case by with the Spitfires, with the Goops, keeping the enemy team right where you want to throw the damage. Kind of negates having that Lyra there. You really don't get that speed.
Well, turret's going to go down. They've almost got the kill onto Daniel, but Ali Peterson joining this fight very low on health. See Archaic just trying to put in the work onto this Black Feather. Going to use the attack of the pack as they continue to try and chase down. They're not going to be able to catch Daniel just yet. Yeah. Finally, they do get that burst with the Aftershock. Will take him out. But again, it's a turret traded for a single kill. That is perfectly fine, and Team Solo Mid able to answer the pressure that Tilt Rehab has brought out.
No, absolutely. They absolutely need to keep responding to TSM to stay in this game. Kills really, they don't matter, right? Like, you don't have to worry about them. Objectives are the only thing. We do see Kaz.
He tried to get over the wall.
He does get away,
though. He's going to be able to get away. He should be able to keep running. He's got the rest of his team here now, but meanwhile, Sino is just kind of in no man's land between these two turrets. But it's just going to be no real pressure getting thrown out because Team Solo Mid doesn't want to go diving deep under two turrets there, but they are going to be able to steal away that tree. brilliant. Shaded Talent actually picking that one up and getting himself the Crystal Orb. And somehow Kaz is still getting out of the situation and finding extra gold for himself by stealing away these camps.
Now that's incredible. To be able to survive, get the heal from the Treant is going to be important. We have it engaged, though, right up here in the mid. As that Sky doing a lot of damage with the forward barrage.
Yeah, Crystal Sky forward barrages still melt through health bars. And again, this is going to be very scary. Once they start going for turrets, Team Solomid with a Scarf and a Sky, those turrets will just be melting so fast. It's going to be very difficult for Tilt Rehab to defend. But Sino doing a good job right now with the Samuel there. He's got a bit of a skirmish here down by the Ghost Wing. And it's going to be actually very low health for Daniel. He's somehow holding on for now. It's going to be Kaz going down actually first. Daniel did get himself out of dodge, but now it's a 5-on-3 situation for Tilt Rehab, and Ghostwing going lower and lower. Daniel going to try and make his way back in, but Attack of the Pack going out. That's going to spot everyone.
They get it.
Ghostwing gets stolen by Daniel over the wall with an on point.
You got to watch out, man. The Big Paws, of course, not his name anymore. So good at taking away objectives and stealing them. We've seen it actually a few times already in other tournament-related matches. This guy is absolutely fantastic. He has really good timing skills. One thing I also know is you got Frostburn on both Hammy and on Chuck. So clearly they want to be able to engage. They want to keep those fights close to them. They want to be able to just constantly dictate the pace. As trying to get that slow. Every time they go in these fights, they have to be a little careful here.
You look at what they're up against, and the slow, it affects the Alpha severely. It prevents the Fortress from being able to be as effective. It can prevent the Samuel from staying in his Drifting Dark. You can stop Rona from being able to use Red Mist on an entire team. Those slows are crucial in these team fights. So, again, the itemization in 5v5 is so much more important now than it even was in 3v3.
Right, it dictates your whole strategy. Nice job here by Rehab. They're just trying to keep their mid turret. It's their first turret to not go down out of all the lanes. Both the top and bottom have taken casualties as Maokai might be getting a gank going on here.
The rest of Tilt Rehab is rotating down, though, so we should be okay. It's just kind of sticking to that 1v1. The rest of the teams are meeting up in the top. Kaz actually taking that 1v1 and winning it out, but now how's the rest of the skirmish going to go? Looks like it's actually pretty low health for Daniel, but he's a Black Feather. He's going to be fine. Kaz rejoining the fight. Chuck's going to help take down this turret as the fight rotates through the mid lane. And there's the big Dragon's Breath. Nice block on the Oblivion. And they just continue to burn on through. Team Solo Mid finding themselves a few more kills. They get 4 kills and a turret when all is said and done off this. Esme's going to try and defend, but you got to be careful. You're the only member left alive.
Oh my goodness. They're still pushing. Chuck, he actually was able to push that wave forward so he could clear out the minions, allow the turret to refocus on his minions, and he was able to start his Dragon Breath under turret with no fear whatsoever. I mean, this team knew exactly what they were doing in that engage, and they're going to get this next turret here. So just like that, the mid lane is crumbling for Tilt Rehab as well.
And while all that was going on, Hammy was still in the top lane. Kaz rotated up to join him as well, and they were able to make some progress in the top lane too. So Team Solo Mid just out-rotating Tilt Rehab right now, and being able to even, when they find 1v1s, Team Solomid has been winning those 1v1 battles as well. So this is starting to look really good for TSM as they just start methodically taking these turrets down. Another rotation down to the bottom lane. Tilt Rehab just not in a position to be able to answer this at all. You see how long they have to walk to get around that wall to try and get under their turret because Team Solomid had them blocked out.
No, this is just TSM's game right now to be able to push the lane. They're pushing on the bottom. Alpha's forced to go to top because the wave minions stacking up on that top lane as well. It's a real challenge if you don't manage the waves. You start to lose those lanes one by one. You're just going to have so much pushing your way. Tilt Rehab, though, they can still get back into this game. They are down, though, by a sizable gold lead.
They would need a very, very big team fight, but with Ghostwing just going over to Team Solo Mid, they're not likely to get it. Here comes the fight. They're going to be looking for the kills onto the Lyra. Lyra's so close to falling, but Allie Peterson's still up. They get the kill onto Chuck without Scarf there. That's a lot of damage taken off the board, but you see the rest of the health for Team Solo Mid still very high. They're still looking for blood. They get the kill into Allie Peterson, trying to rotate on through, but these slows, you're seeing the effects that they have as they find another kill to get the Alpha down into the reboot with the ultimate there being used. Maokai still trying to survive with that red mist, getting that fortified health, just not going to be hanging on for too much longer as this team fight continues to break down. Esme, again, getting targeted, getting slowed, getting taken out without having that passive available any longer. And Team Solo Mid, not the cleanest of team fights for them, but they still come out on top.
That is completely wild. TSM won that team fight because Tilt Rehab gets the first kill onto Chuck. I mean, they got the kill they wanted, but it wasn't enough. You saw the forward barrage. They're disengaging. I don't know why Lyra couldn't just get the team over the hump around that bush on the tri-shop, because once that forward barrage came out, it just melted Lyra, and then it just started to lay into the rest of the team.
Yeah, and that's one of the things when you're dealing with a Scarf and a Sky, you have to really worry about the full team positioning, because someone has to be eating that damage, and you have to try and choose who do you want to be the target. Lyra's not the twist there. I think Rona is really your best option, maybe the Samuel because he has so much sustain, but you cannot have your captain who needs to be staying alive to provide all the utility to the team being the one that eats that damage up front.
Yeah, one of the squishier captains in the game too, so that's just a challenge that Tilt Rehab might have to face as they start looking at it. I mean, they really started off that team fight strong. Now you've got TSM here, and they're starting to resubmit their presence on the map, on the jungle side as well for the enemy. Like, they've got vision in different spots. They don't have vision on Black Cloud, though.
They're saving the weapon treant for Esme to come over and take, so that they have it on one of their two characters that they need that weapon buff on. That was an opportunity. I'm surprised Team Solomid didn't actually go for Black Claw. I kind of figured they would try and force a fight there, but it is a little bit risky. You know, if Black Claw gets stolen from you, all of a sudden games can turn around very, very quickly with a good Black Claw push. Team Solomid trying to just push in without taking that risk. Daniel's eating a lot of damage. Oblivion's not going to connect, but there goes Esme deep into the team. You've got Ali Peterson trying to take Hammy out of the fight, but that's two members on one. They all rotate over onto Hammy, though. Hammy is a sitting duck, a great portal for Tilt Rehab. Can they continue to find this fight, though? You see Team Solomid, most of them still very healthy with the exception of Daniel. And Tilt Rehab in a little bit of trouble, but Esme has that infinite reboot still available. They're looking for Kaz. They have no idea where Kaz went. Finally, they spot him out with that scout cam, and Kaz is going to be in trouble as well. So Tilt Rehab, great job picking off two members of Team Solomid.
Woo, look at that vision actually in that bush. Really bad spot for Kaz to go because they had triple scout cams. That just goes to show you how much respect they have right now for Kaz. Kaz is able to get away so easily.
This is dangerous. Even though it's a 5-on-3 for now, this is still really dangerous because of the AoE that can come out. You have Shaded Talon who can throw that big bada bing into the middle of things. Chuck can just throw out his Spitfires and Goops to start melting things. But they decide to go right onto Chuck. The great portal. Once again, Ali Peterson setting up Tilt Rehab to find these kills.
Yeah, that was not a Black Claw take. That was a psych take. They definitely wanted to bait them in to a position where, you know, TSM thought they could take it. So now they've got a better shot.
Bada being used. Black Claw does. They stuck onto the Black Claw, and they do get the Black Claw secured. Tilt Rehab maybe trying to turn this game around. Archaic very low on this fortress, but he's going to go right back in. They need his damage. They found themselves a Kaz, and they take down Taka. Black Claw just getting to that first turret. That's the crazy. 17 minutes in, the first turret in the mid lane getting destroyed, but with a Black Claw you can make a lot of work happen here. You got to keep an eye on where's Team Solomid going to respond. Will they need to send everyone into this mid lane to try and stop it. They only have 3 members up. Black Claw is just making quick work of these turrets, and they are really finding themselves a lot of gold here. Tilt Rehab is.
Absolutely. Black Cloud now finally starting to take the damage as the Scarf comes out. Scarf and Sky are going to be your 2 primary objectives, takedowns. So finally able to bring down Black Claw. That was a very impressive push here.
I love what Tilt Rehab did, though. They could have stuck around Black Claw and pushed that middle turret, taken that down. Instead, they wanted to make sure they get a little bit of pressure on the side lanes as well. They all rotate to the top, take that top turret down, and let the Black Claw get about half of that middle turret's health. Now it's something that they can revisit if they can find another team fight. But right now, Tilt Rehab, these picks that they have been able to secure, thanks to their vision, thanks to just being able to get themselves into the proper position, and Ali Peterson with this Lyra play and these portals have been phenomenal.
Well, they brought it closer. I mean, they're definitely starting to make a shot or make a statement as that they could potentially take this match. You know, if this was a long series, it'd be absolutely exciting. but TSM still has that slight lead. It's a sizable gold lead, a small objective lead. I think just honestly, some vision placement problems. You know, they're allowing Rehab to get some control in vision and then dictate the fights around that. That puts Kaz in a bad spot. Kaz needs to be able to get out and get back in.
Oh, well, we're about to have a team, but there's a bada bing going in, but it doesn't hit anyone. That gets blocked. Great job by Tilt Rehab to reset that fight. Big portal into the entire team. Sino, with that big AoE, they find one kill that Team Solo Mid does. They take down Ali Peterson. That means that engagement is now going to be very difficult to make. Gets the kill onto the Fortress and the Alpha, and Tilt Rehab going maybe a little too aggressive there, trying to take a team fight before they were really ready to go all in on it. And it just looked like there was a little miscommunication, and it cost them big. This might even be the game after the ace comes through for Team Solo Mid.
Yeah, I thought Malachi might get another kill there and find a way to survive, but unfortunately he does go down to finish off the ace, and that is match, Tasty Bacon. A very impressive game. Team Solo Mid coming in clutch.
A great game by Team Solo Mid through the early to mid game, but I have to give so much credit to Tilt Rehab staying focused and finding themselves those opportunities to get a couple of picks here and there, really make this game a lot closer than it was prior to that pick onto the sky. It was just a really great performance from Tilt Rehab to not get tilted. You know, I guess that Rehab worked out for them in this instance. Unfortunately, it didn't quite get them all the way to a